We might take a bit of a break up ahead, guys, and just have a bit of a talk about the bike. Just up through these bends amongst the pine forest. Nice little spot up here on the left. Wow, almost missed it. This'll do. These weigh in 200 kilos. They run 18-inch wheels front and rear on Pirelli Phantom tyres. They got roughly a 13 litre fuel tank. They got a 6-speed box. Top speed roughly 180 kilometres an hour, or so they say. Lighting system is all bulbs, so you're talking headlight, indicators, tail light, nothing LED on this bike. We got a 650cc motor putting out 47 brake horsepower, naturally chain drive. We got a dual channel ABS braking system, and naturally we got a nice little oil cooler here to help keep the motor a bit on the cooler side. Best thing about it on this particular one for Royal Enfield, the oil filter is sitting right at the front of the motor, so it's easy access for an oil change. So that's some of the minor points for this bike I just thought I'd like to point out. So overall everything's nice and easy to get at. It's a nice bike to ride. If anyone hasn't, or if anyone's on the shelf thinking about one of these bikes or would like to take one for a run, I'd highly recommend it because it's a very nice bike to ride. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in on such a nice day, and this is roughly my 300 kilometre report. I think I've done close on 300, we'll just have a check. .289, so fairly close. Well, I'll just recap on a couple of issues, or minor issues with the bike. This car goes fast. Yeah, so I'm running the bike now. See, I'm close on 300 kilometres. I'm running it in top gear now at around that 4,000 revs, so I've decided to up it now and do a cruise now at 100 kilometres an hour. Prior to that I was mainly only doing 80 kilometres when I head out along the road, but now on this particular run I've taken it up to 100 k's. I'm still only taking it on, say, 15 mile, 20 kilometre, 25 kilometre bursts, so you know, to give it a chance to cool down. So this trip where I am now, it's roughly 25 kilometres from home. Bring it out, give it a bit of a rest. I've noticed now, even on this run, the motor doesn't smell as warm as like it was in the original kick-off on the bike. So, you know, you can tell now the motor's not as tight or what it was originally started with. Now you did, on the previous one I mentioned a couple of times there was a bit of a rattle up front on the bike, but now I've examined it more closely, I would say the rattle's coming from, you might hear it, probably the float inside of the front disc. So that's where that noise is coming from when you go over bumps. That's the noise I'm hearing. So we can eliminate that sound, and that's the exact sound probably what I'm hearing when I hit something, so we can count that one out. Okay, point 2 looking at would be, I find that this particular key is very similar to the other one when I put in the bike. It's really sticky in it. Sometimes you go to put it in the ignition and it's hard to put in, and sometimes it'll go in easy and you can turn it on no problem at all. So, you know, sometimes it goes in all right, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on how it feels. So it'll probably be something like, as the bike or as the key wears down a bit, it's probably a bit rough on the edges, things will go a little bit better in that respect. Now if anyone's using this gas tank for the first time, wants to fill it, I was a bit hesitant because if you go back on the previous videos you'll know that I had a bit of a drama filling it for the first time. Well, not this particular bike, the first one, where the gas cap jammed on me. Now the idea, once you put the key in, turn the key to the right. So if you want to know how to open the gas cap, key in, turn to the right, it'll pop up, leave the key in it, fill the bike with gas, put the cap back on, like so. We'll just demo. You feel it pop now, it'll come off. You've put your petrol in, I'm virtually full of petrol. Then you come back in and press down, key will spin around, pull the key out, all good. This one's working fine. Now number 3 we'll be looking at will be, I've mentioned now, I'm having false neutrals when I go from change 5 to change 6, and that's only on up changes. I have no trouble coming down through the changes. Now I've experienced that now probably in the first 300 kilometres about, I'd be very close to a dozen times, so it's happened a fair bit. Now if that was on a Classic 500 for example, I would most likely, I've mentioned earlier that I'll probably try full synthetic oil when it goes for the oil change, and that may help. But see this point here where we've got, this would be the change point where your change would come out on a C5, and normally, you know, I would just undo this and drop it, bring the changer out here and then drop it a little bit. But these changes on these are a fairly sloppy thing, they're not precision. So what I will do is maybe this afternoon or something like that, I won't have to touch that one, but I'll just undo this nut, that nut there. I'll put this bike on the centre stand and I'll measure from the bottom of the rubber tip or here to the ground, and I'll just see what measurement it's sitting at the moment, and then turn it either right or left. I don't know which way it's going to go, and I'll see, you know, which way turns it to lower the gear changer pad itself, so that next time I go out I can, it'll be a little bit lower, and when I go to an up change I can use a little bit more force on the foot to bring it up into a harder change, because you know these bikes are more industrial type changes. They're not as good as changes what you'd get in a you know, a Honda or a Triumph or, you know, any of the bikes like that. I think it's very similar in some ways, and the what you see in a change in a Classic 500, you know, more clunky type change. So I'm going to try that idea. So it'll be up on the centre stand, measure with a tape measure from this point here to the ground, lower it a little bit, and then I'll try that change between 300 kilometres to 500, see how many false neutrals I get that way, or if I get any, and see if that idea works between that and when it goes for the 500 full synthetic change. So we'll see how that works. Yeah, just in case one of my forum guys is watching, Bushmaster Bill. There you are, mate. Got me gloves on today. Thought it'd be best if I wear them. Bit safer. So we'll kick the bike over. One good thing about an Interceptor, they always start. Plenty of time, I tell you what, there's plenty of times I've got out, I won't lie to you, plenty of times I've stopped on a C5 and I've wondered if the bloody thing's going to go or not. And that's brand new ones. Anyway, we'll head off down along here. Well, I think we'll swing to the left. Just a swing to the left. Haven't been down here for a fair while, but a bit of gravel on the road and away we'll go. I don't know, I just keep thinking every time I get on this bike, this is really a nice bike to ride. I think you could do a lot worse than own an Interceptor. Actually, that Duke 390 was a worse bike, I think. Might be alright for the young blokes, but that riding position, it felt like I was laying over the front wheel. But Yeah, so like I said, now I'll start riding this bike around up to 4,000 revs. That means I can travel along up around 80, 90, 100 kilometres an hour. What I did notice back there now, that when I pulled up with a roughly 10 or 15 minute break, you know, the motor didn't smell hot or warm. It's never ever smelt hot, just smelt warm. But I think this is a bike where I could go out later on and do 200 or 300 kilometre runs. Maybe not now, summer's coming on, that could be a bit hot, but you could come out and go for the berm. But I think once again out today, I don't think there'd be change out of 30 degrees. Look at this, right out in the middle of nowhere, and here we are at a stop sign. Say if you ran through it and there was a friggin' highway patrol on the other side, would that be it? There you go. This creek I'm crossing now, good for rainbow trout. It was years ago, not now because we're in a drought, but here's I caught some rainbow trout in that creek. Now some may be wondering, what's the news on the slash cut exhaust? Well, there's no news at the moment, it's sitting home in the box, but I'm not doing any exhaust mods to this bike till I actually run it in totally, because, you know, I've had a bit of bad luck putting sports exhaust on bikes early and then burning out the valves, even though I've got a valve remedy lined up. Once I put the slash cut on it, you know, this is a very easy bike to run in compared to, example, Classic 500, which is a very slow bike to run in. How slow? Well, you know, in the first part of the journey, as the story goes, you've got to ride them at supposedly below 50 kilometres an hour, up to 50 kilometres an hour, and the run-in is really long and slow, and not like this. This is a really good run-in period for these, you know, up to 4,000 revs, picnic. Good, you know, you can get out here and still ride it normal and you don't get bored. And if you're a person that gets bored like I do, you get sort of a bit slap happy with the accelerator, and you get a bit figure it's a bit slow, and then you want to go faster, and then all of a sudden to go fast you want to put a sports exhaust on it. Then the next minute you get out there and it's running, and it's running hot. Then you go up one hill, and then sure enough out pops the valve and you've burnt that out and your history. So I think try to avoid those, or that drama, and do the right thing by this bike. And you know, it's fun bike to ride in standard form, and a nice sound or pop from the exhaust. Yeah, like I said, you could ride a lot worse bike than this one. So 47 horsepower is really not bad compared to 27, and 27's not bad either compared to none. Here we are, Forest Creeks. Population by the looks of it there too. Nice hay bales in the paddock. The horses around. Yeah, so overall, like I said, if anyone's in the market for one of these bikes, head down the Enfield dealer and check them out, because you know, I think you'd be very happy with one of these. Anyway, thanks for calling in and taking a look. I think I'll do my next review on this bike at 500 kilometres. We'll see if any improvement on the neutral incident going into 6th gear. See how the bike's performing then. I think that'll be more interesting, and I might have to get out here hopefully on that day and battle the wind like I am today. So catch up with you at a later date. Cheers for now, and in the meantime, if you're out on your bike, enjoy your ride.